Sandiaga Uno. Beserta rapimnas yang kami hormati, perkenankan kami akan menyampaikan ketetapan rapat pimpinan nasional rapimnas ke-6 Partai Persatuan Pembangunan nomor 02/TAP/rapimnas 6 Romawi PPP 6 2023 tentang pernyataan politik dan rekomendasi rapimnas ke-6 Partai Persatuan Pembangunan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rapimnas 6 Partai Persatuan Pembangunan menimbang 1 dan seterusnya, mengingat 1 dan seterusnya, memperhatikan 1 sambutan dan pengarahan PLT Ketua Umum Dewan Pimpinan Pusat Partai Persatuan Pembangunan yang disampaikan dalam pembukaan Rapimnas 6 Partai Persatuan Pembangunan. 2. Pandangan, saran, pendapat, dan usul dari pengurus harian DPP Partai Persatuan Pembangunan, pimpinan majelis-majelis DPP Partai Persatuan Pembangunan, dan para ketua DPW Dewan Pimpinan Wilayah Partai Persatuan Pembangunan se-Indonesia. Memutuskan menetapkan 1 pernyataan politik dan rekomendasi Rapimnas 6 Partai Persatuan Pembangunan. Pernyataan politik dan rekomendasi Rapimnas 6 tersebut sebagaimana tercantum dalam lampiran yang merupakan bagian tak terpisahkan dari ketetapan ini. Demikian rekomendasi ditetapkan untuk dilaksanakan oleh seluruh pengurus dan kader di semua tingkatan. Pimpinan sidang, Ketua Dr. Haji Amir Uskara, MKes, Sekretaris Insur Haji Aun Rofik, anggota Dr. Muharas SPDMM, anggota Hilman Ismail Metarium SE ditandatangani. Lampiran rekomendasi Rapat Pimpinan Nasional 6 P3 2023. Yang pertama,
Hasil. called alpha. Alpha is known for creativity, for problem solving, for accelerated healing. Meditators, monks go into alpha as part of their daily routine. Athletes are proven to go into alpha before they take a shot, before they shoot an arrow. The alpha state is what you're in when you practice relaxation or meditation. And this is why there are over 15,000 studies today that show that being relaxed and being in a meditative or mindful state actually improve your health and well-being. But you can go further than that. You can access the next state, which is called theta. Now, theta is a really curious state. Scientists who study theta say that this is the state that gives you inspiration, eureka moments. Difficult problems suddenly get solved with a great insight. Let me give you an example. Thomas Edison, the great inventor, was known for his afternoon naps, but he napped in a really curious way. Legend has it he would sleep on a sofa holding a metal ball in his hand, and when he drifted off into deep sleep, his hand would drop, the ball would hit a metal plate next to the sofa, causing a loud clang that woke him up. In short, he was dipping into sleep and waking up, dipping into sleep and waking up. Why did he do this? Because Edison was dipping into the theta level. The theta level is the level of light sleep, and he was dipping into it to get inspiration and insights. He wasn't the only one. A famous American inventor by the name of William Gates II would create some of the most incredible patents and trademarks. He had dozens of them. But his method was to go into theta by locking himself in his darkened basement, closing all the lights, sitting on his desk, and going into a deep state of relaxation where ideas and eureka moments would flow to him. Now, while beta is the waking frequency, all of us can learn to tap into alpha and theta. And the next level is the most curious of all, delta. Delta is the level that you're in when you're asleep. But Silva found that you can learn to program your mind just before going to sleep and have your mind solve problems for you while at delta. Scientists who study delta have noticed this. People who are able to operate at the delta level of mind often tend to be incredibly lucky. Miracles happen. Crazy serendipities occur. You might call it magic or good luck, but it's something different. It almost seems like these people who are trained to access delta can bend reality. Jose Silva went on to create this incredible movement called the Silva Mind Control Movement. It was one of the first personal growth programs in America. His book, The Silva Mind Control Method, sold millions upon millions of copies. Everyone from opera singer Margarita Piazza to the Chicago White Sox spoke about how Silva techniques were allowing them to improve their skill on stage or on the ball field. Silva went deep into pioneering new techniques, including the centering exercise to rapidly take you into the alpha level. And then he created techniques to amplify focus, creativity, and intuition. His mental video technique, which he created in the mid-1990s as he lay at his deathbed, was designed to help you bring in higher intelligence to help you solve the most difficult problems. He also created the 3 scenes technique to help you see your life unfolding exactly as you want it to unfold, and also to accelerate healing and manifest your deepest desires. His case working technique was designed to train people to learn the science of mind-body healing. As the Silva method grew, of course there were skeptics. Newspapers sent journalists to go into Silva classes and see what this man was talking about. Silva classes were absolutely mobbed by people, filled with Wall Street types and executives, and they were loving it because they were learning to conquer stress. But what they did not know, Jose Silva was not going to stop at something so simple. Stress was just one aspect. By day 4 of the class, they were learning to tap into intuition, to access deep states of meditation, and to manifest their future. An entire marketing company was organized by graduates to use what they learned in Silva to invent new products and decide new ways to market them. In its 3rd year, the company had 18 products on the market. Furthermore, one advertising man used to need 2 months to create a campaign for his clients. This was quite average in the field. Applying the Silva method, he brought the process down to 20 minutes. The rest of the work was done in 2 weeks. Now, the famous Chicago White Sox had 14 players take the Silva method. All their individual averages improved, most of them dramatically. The husband of a woman who was suffering from obesity suggested she try the Silva method because all the diets she tried had failed. She agreed, provided he took Silva too. She lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks. He stopped smoking. A professor at a college of pharmacy taught Silva to his graduates. Their grades are going up in all their courses, he said, with less studying, and they are more relaxed. Everybody knows how to use their imagination. I just get my students to practice it more. I show them that imagination is valid and there's a form of reality in imagination that we can use. With all of the success, Jose did not become a celebrity, not a guru, not a spiritual leader with followers. He's a plain man of simple ways, speaks with a soft, lost accent of a Mexican American, a kind man who smiles easily whenever he hears, "Jose, you changed my life." And he replies, "No, I didn't do it. You did, with your own mind." Now, are you ready for this? Because this is the craziest story of all. You see this? This is the cover of Time magazine. And on this cover, you see the author, Richard Bach, who wrote the famous book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull. This Time magazine is from November 13, 1972, and I got this on eBay. Richard Bach made the cover of Time magazine because his book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, struck such a chord, it took off and sold millions of copies. But here's the thing. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar magazine, Richard Bach said that this book had been sitting in his basement for years until he took a Silva class. And as he went into his alpha level of mind, the final closing chapter of the book came together. He was able to complete the book, submit it, and it became one of the best-selling books of his generation, putting him on the cover of Time magazine. I interviewed his daughter to validate it, and sure enough, Bach's daughter confirmed the story, saying that her father had the manuscript for 5 years in their basement. She also said that her father would come back from these classes, sit down with her, and teach her techniques. And now she understood that these were Silva techniques. Before I show you how to change your mind to change your life, let me first say, my name is Vishen Lakhiani, and many people call me one of the luckiest people alive. I built my dream company, Mind Value, into a massive valuation. My book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, became the #1 book in the world on Amazon, September 16, 2017. My second book hit #1 in the Wall Street Journal. I run multiple companies around the world in just a few hours a week, and I live a life that I consider blessed. Now, while on the outside, all of this seems like luck, the truth is, I've been using the Silva method for the last 20 years to reprogram my brain, to manifest the life I design. And once you begin to understand it, synchronicities become part of your life. Magic seems to infuse your life. It almost seems as if the universe has your back, just like Helen Hetzel did. You see, Helen was doing what all us Silva graduates know. She was a master at bending reality. It wasn't until I stumbled upon the Silva method that everything changed for me. It started when I was 26. It was April 2001 when I landed in San Francisco, and my timing sucked because the dot-com bubble burst. I lost my savings, I lost the job I had, and I was forced to get a dialing for dollars job, selling software to lawyers and making absolutely nothing. The economy was so bad, they were not paying a base salary. It was either sell a software and get a 20% cut, or you don't get to eat that week. I was seeing my bank account get lower and lower and lower, and I couldn't afford rent, so I was sleeping on a friend's couch. And one day, in desperation, I decided to get on Google and ask for help. Google was the hot new search engine in Silicon Valley, and I can't remember what I put in. Maybe it was, "Dear Google, why does life suck so bad?" Or it was, "Dear Google, how do I get out of this rut?" And what I remember happened next is that I saw a search result for a Jose Silva class happening in Los Angeles. I decided to put together the few $100s I have, fly to LA and take this class, especially because it seemed to promise so much: improving sales, manifesting your dream life, bringing you out of a depression. And boy, I needed that because I was so down. Now, this class in LA was called Silva Ultramind. It was Jose Silva's final creation. He had produced this program and released it in a limited way to the world in around 1996. Jose died in February 1999, and this program was his last creation. And this seminar in LA was being taught by a pharmaceutical salesperson. When I met her, she explained that she had used these techniques to overcome the agony of a tragic divorce. She had built her life back. She had transformed her sales in her company. And to prove it to me, she showed me the beautiful red sports car that she was driving. Furthermore, she said she had used it to meet the man of her dreams. And that's why, in addition to all of this, she decided to give back to others by getting trained in the Silva method so she could teach this class. That was enough for me. If I could get just 10% of the success she had, I would be ecstatic. And so I took the class with her. I was the only person who showed up for this 2-day class. And so as I went through this class, she made me understand why I was so stuck. I was using just a limited portion of the faculties of my mind. I was programmed with beliefs and ideas that were holding me back. And I'd literally shut myself down to human abilities that Jose Silva had showed that we all have, but so few use. I flew back to San Francisco Sunday night because I had to start work on Monday. And my life was never going to be the same again. On Monday morning, when I woke up, before going to work, I used my Silva techniques to program my day. And then at work, I used the technique to go into the theta level of mind and tap into intuition. You see, back then, we had to check out the yellow pages. Remember that big, heavy book? We had to check out the yellow pages from the San Francisco Public Library, and I had to call every law firm in my designated territory, San Antonio. We had to go from A to Z in order. But I decided to try the Silva technique. As I read the yellow pages, I would check my gut for an impulse or a feeling that this was the right lawyer to call. And I would call only the lawyers where I felt an intuitive yes. Now, something really strange happened that day. That day itself, I did double the sales I averaged. I attributed this to pure luck, right? So I didn't make much of it. But at the end of the week, I continued having double my sales average. And now I knew something interesting was happening. 2 weeks later, I doubled my sales again using a different Silva technique called subliminal programming. And 2 weeks after that, I doubled my sales again using yet another Silva technique called the 3 scenes technique. My boss came to me, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, "Wish, what are you doing?" I said, "I honestly don't know how it works, but I think it's called ESP." And he replied, "Nah, that's bullshit, but can you keep doing it?" I grew so fast in that company that in the next 4 months, I was promoted 3 times. I was 26 years old and made vice president of sales, and they shipped me out to New York to start the company's New York office on September 11, 2002. I worked at that company, operating a gorgeous office in Chelsea Market, New York, and I loved my life. But 18 months into it, I began to feel a calling. I began to feel that the corporate world wasn't for me. I wanted something where I could make an impact. And that's when I remembered a quote by Nelson Mandela. Mandela said, "If you want to change the world, change education." So I thought, wow, I want to go into education, but what would I teach? And then this dawned on me. The most valuable education I had in my entire life was the Silva method. This is what I wanted to teach. And so I decided to contact Jose Silva's family, get the license to teach the Silva method, to promote its products, and start a company around that. I became a Silva instructor. I traveled the world teaching small Silva classes for 5 years before I decided to go bigger and start a company to transform humanity. That company is called Mind Valley. And today, we are the biggest personal growth company on the planet. None of these accomplishments would have been possible if it wasn't for Silva. This is just one of the many goals that I was able to see in my mind so picture perfect using Silva's mental screen technique. Every time I think back, it's incredible how my life moved towards these goals with so much ease and fluidity. I started working with Jose Silva's family in around 2004. I helped take the Silva method to a wide audience again. And in 2018, Jose Silva's daughter, Diana Silva, asked me to be the face of the new Silva method, to make sure that Jose's knowledge never left the earth. In 2020, we took Jose Silva's most powerful 2-day seminar, Silva Ultramind, and we transformed it into an online program that transforms lives everywhere. It is the most advanced Silva program in the world right now, and it is only available on the Mind Valley platform to translate Jose Silva's work and legacy for a new generation. Silva Ultramind is a 28-day program hosted by me with core ideas from Jose Silva's work. Every day, you go through a 15 to 20 minute training designed to layer on advanced mind power techniques into your consciousness. You learn how to tap into altered states of consciousness with such ease and fluidity that they become second nature. Your journey begins with Silva's core mind exercise. It's called the mental screen, and it's designed for enhanced visualization. This is perfect if you've struggled to manifest things in the past. The mental screen is a powerful tool that you use when you're able to tap into the alpha level. You can use it in so many ways. I used it to create healthy relationships with everyone around me, to build a team for Mind Valley, to connect with some of the most amazing people in the world. There is the world-famous Silva centering exercise. This is a 22-minute audio designed by Jose Silva with a particular language pattern that allows you to go into the alpha level of mind easier and easier every time you listen to it. And soon, you're able to tap into that alpha level of mind instantly using a simple finger movement that you program into your brain. Then you'll discover how to access your subconscious mind's full intuitive ability.